Hello and welcome to the video for Thursday, October 22nd for animation.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good.
Good, man.
How's life?
That's all right. It's a sunny day.
Nice, nice. Always good.
Yeah, it's always a good thing, huh? We get spoiled here with the sun.
How's everybody else? Everybody alive?
Don't answer if you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're doing okay. It's a good thing. Let me
I think so.
one would hope. Let me put you guys in the attendance and then we'll get going here. Pima.edu.
Dead inside does not mean dead.
I know, but the most important part is dead, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Attendance. Now we got animation. And we got some peeps in here. And there we go. Okay. Let's see. So let's see who's here. So Daniel, have you got a presentation for today?
Yeah, I do. I do have the presentation for today. So
okay.
Yeah.
Would you like to share your screen and give that presentation?
definitely, yeah.
Okay, cool. Go ahead.
Cool. Can you see my screen?
Apparently our presentation is on Zoom.
Okay, cool. Can you guys see the screen?
The
Yeah.
animation process, Toy Story 4.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Toy Story 4. There you go. That's
Hey.
gonna be it. So good morning, everyone. So my presentation is gonna be about the animation process about Toy Story 4, and then so let's talk about Toy Story. So I don't know if you guys remember Toy Story from back in the day. I mean, I'm from the '90s, so I remember whenever Toy Story came out, it was like the best movie ever. I was like 5 years old, and then well, it started in 1995, and then it's been going and going for like 4 movies already, I think, and then it's been changing so much for the past years, the technology and everything for Pixar, and then yeah, it's good to see. It's cool to see the changes from the beginning and then the last movie, how the detail became so much better from 1995 to 2019, and then also yeah, and then Toy Story also was one of the first movies that was animated in 3D, so it was the pioneer of the movies. So this is a picture, and you guys can see like on 2019 it looks a little more real, like more detail than the 1995. 1995 actually looks more like a toy, don't you guys think? It looks more like a toy, and then 2019 looks more I don't know, it has like a cool like vintage like style or something like that. And here we got another picture also. This one has so much more detail, like on the face and the reflex, the shiny toy or something. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, and then also Greg was telling us the process about animation, and I think it's really important. I didn't see it as how important it is, and I found a cool video, and it shows the same process that Greg is teaching us. Like first you have to do your character, and then you have to do the storyboard, and then you have to do the animatic, And then that's actually the process that Toy Story follows. And then it jumps into the 3D, the rendering of the 3D character, and then it's a whole process. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. It's a little long, but we can just watch half of it, or whenever you guys get tired, just let me know, and then I'll pause it.
Cool. We get commercials too.
Yeah, commercials for free. There you go.
Okay, we're not hearing any sound right now.
Can you guys hear it?
Nope.
No. Oh, it's weird though. That's so weird.
There's this thing with Zoom that sometimes you can't hear audio because Zoom is taking over the audio, but that hasn't been the problem in the past with some people. Are you getting this off the web or is it on your computer?
It's actually on the web. Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Okay.
And yeah.
I don't know.
It's on
Try it
YouTube,
again.
and
See if we get any
Can you
sound.
try it again?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I know how it can work. Let me take out my headphones.
You don't have headphones in, do you?
Did Pixar bring
Can
this
you hear it?
intricate world?
Yeah, now-
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, yeah, it was the headphones then. Okay, cool. Okay.
If you've seen Toy Story 4, you've probably noticed that Pixar's animation doesn't neglect any detail, no matter how small. From dust particles in the antique shop to subtle signs of aging on the toys, it's all there, rendered incredibly realistically on the big screen. So how exactly did Pixar bring this intricate world to life? Let's take a look at the fascinating process that created Toy Story 4, from start to finish. For Toy Story 4, as for all Pixar films, story comes first. While the writers draft the script, story artists work alongside them, making preliminary sketches for each scene in the film. These sketches, called storyboards, give the Pixar team an idea of how each scene will go down. Editors then cut the storyboards together into an animatic, or story reel. Basically, a long, detailed flipbook that reflects the pace of each sequence. The story reel is edited with rudimentary sound effects, a scratch soundtrack, and temporary dialogue that's been pre-recorded by Pixar employees. It serves as a rough draft for the movie, allowing the filmmakers to get an idea of how the story will unfold and hone the sequences before having them animated. Once the storyline is set, the art department and production designers get together to create concept art for the characters and their environments. Meanwhile, character artists lay out how each toy will look in the film. For Toy Story 4, character design involved a lot of research into the toys themselves, how they're made, how they age, and everything in between. The character team found their perfect villain on field trips to antique shops, where they'd often spot vintage dolls lurking in corners. There, the idea for Gabby Gabby was born. This newcomer is a talking doll from the 1950s, and she's designed to come off as very toy-like, in a way that might even give you the creeps at first. On the other hand, it's all warm fuzzies when we meet Ducky and Bunny, a pair of carnival prize toys voiced by Keegan-Michael Key and Jordan Peele. Their loud, bright colors, cheap-looking plush, and sheen finish were designed to look authentic for the kind of toy you'd win at a carnival game. Not the highest in quality, but lovable nonetheless. The character artists also decide on wardrobe. They steered clear from any major changes to most of the toys' signature costumes. But they wanted to update Bo Peep's look to reflect her resourcefulness and sense of adventure, aspects of her character that weren't fully explored in the earlier Toy Stories. So they came up with a convertible costume that allowed Bo to repurpose elements of her outfit on the fly, even turning her dress into a bag or a cape when it suits her. Another key step in the visual development of the film is the creation of color scripts. These digital illustrations that kind of look like impressionist paintings from the 19th century. Each picture depicts a single frame in the movie, helping filmmakers start to define the style, lighting scheme, and general mood of each shot, and figure out how the colors in each scene will relate to the overall storyline. All of these illustrations provide reference material for the next stage of computer modeling. This is when the toys and their environments begin to take form in three-dimensional space. Modeling artists take the basic shapes of the characters, sets, and props and mold them into a 3D mesh, then sculpt and refine these builds until they're satisfied. In constructing the sets, scale was a chief concern, as the artists wanted to accurately represent the diminutive size of the toys relative to their surroundings. To nail down that contrast, they photographed models of the toys interacting with objects out in the real world, then used those photos for reference. The character models require an extra step.
So, how long is this going to take?
You can't rush art.
They get rigged with a movable skeleton, which has controls placed around its face, its joints, and the rest of its body. Like a really advanced digital puppet, animators will then be able to manipulate the character's movement using its unique set of controls, making it act and emote in precise ways as the story requires. So the characters can now move, and they have sets to move around in. But something's missing. Neither the characters nor their sets have any surface characteristics, making everything kind of fall flat. That's where shading or surfacing comes in. Shading artists' job is to furnish the 3D models with the kind of textures, finishes, and tints they'd have in real life, lending them visual complexity and charm. Some of this work is done using shaders, computer programs that know how to simulate a range of materials, like plastic, fabric, metal, wood, glass, hair, or skin. Clever software proved useful for the 10,000 items that filled the antique shop. Shading art director Laura Phillips said her team saved time by developing a language of 3 different ages for the many items in the store: fairly new, moderately aged, and extremely aged. They applied varying degrees of texture to the objects according to that visual language, but a lot of the shading was done by hand, especially for the most central and visible items, like the carnival game where Buzz accidentally lands himself. The sets team reasoned that in a traveling carnival, games like this one would have to be quickly assembled, torn down, and stowed away, so they'd probably look a little beaten up. To capture that, artists painted welding marks on the grid backdrop of the booth. This fit the game's shabby look with its slightly warped metal bars and visible rusting. Of course, special attention was also lavished on the shading of the characters. For plastic toys like Woody and Buzz, the shading artist created an algorithm to simulate the effect of light penetrating a slightly translucent surface, such as plastic. Meanwhile, they added subtle signs of wear and tear to the toys to reflect their histories. The threads on Woody's clothes have started fraying. There are dirt smudges on his hand and chin, and the seam on his vest has worn thin. Buzz has plenty of scratches of his own, especially near his joints, and his stickers have begun to bubble, pucker, and peel. You can also see felt poking out of certain spots on Jessie's hat. These specific scuffs towards the front of Gabby's shoes could only result from the distinct walking style of an older doll like her. The scratch effect on Forky's cheeks indicates his past life as an eating utensil, and Bo's porcelain shows signs of crazing, the type of micro cracks that appear in the glaze of ceramics. Now that the characters have started looking more tangible and real, the cast members visit the studio to record their voice performances. The sessions are filmed so that the actors' expressions can guide their characters' facial animations later on. Before that, though, is layout, when the characters are set up in front of a virtual camera. Layout artists in an animated movie function similarly as a camera team would in any live-action movie. Guided by the storyboards, they place the characters appearing in a scene into the appropriate set, arrange the characters in front of the camera, and block out their basic movements within the right camera angles. At this point, the sets may not be completely dressed yet, meaning more props might be added later on. But layout helps the set dressers determine the best placement of every object within the composition of each shot. Once the scenes have been staged, the animation team gets them moving, bringing all the primary and secondary characters to life. The toys are alive! Nice toys! Each character is defined by up to 1,000 avars, or hinges, that are built into their skeleton. If the animators are like puppeteers and the characters are their puppets, the avars represent the strings on a puppet, points of possible movement that the animators manipulate to make their characters act and emote. Every day, the animation department comes together to analyze the 1 or 2 seconds of film they've just put into motion, and talk about ways they can make those few seconds even more expressive. Since the shots in Pixar films are so complex, it can take 8 weeks or more to animate a single shot. The character animation is also highly specific. The way each character moves in Toy Story 4 was informed by what type of toy they were and what personality traits they gave off. The story and character artists imagined the Bo Peep of Toy Story 4 as a kind of graceful, agile road warrior. So the animators looked to reference footage of ballroom dancer Sharna Burgess, gymnast Ali Reisman, and the bride from Kill Bill. The way Bo
Okay, are you guys enjoying the video, or should I like put everyone to sleep maybe?
Sorry, what I was napping.
Yeah, no.
No, I like it.
Cool. Yeah, so that's
No,
pretty
it's
much
pretty dope.
yeah, that's pretty much the idea I wanted to give you guys. And then because I'm also taking a 3D class also, and then it's cool to see how everything like gets together from animation to like 3D. And then we adding shades right now to like we are learning about shades right now and all that stuff. So it kind of like animation, the animation class kind of like goes together with the 3D class also. So it's a cool way to see. And I think some of the guys also are in this class and the 3D class also. So it's cool to see how the whole process works. And then yeah, but that's
love-
pretty much it.
I love seeing the little details with the character models, like the scuff marks and all that. That's great.
Yeah, it's pretty sick, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also I didn't know John Wick was one of the voices.
Yeah, it's Duke Kaboom.
Yeah. Oh, really? Cool. I didn't
Yeah,
even know that.
it makes
Yeah.
me want to rewatch it and look for all those things like the the weld marks on the iron grating in the back of the carnival booth and stuff like that.
Yeah, because we actually don't pay attention to those details until like
Yeah.
I think until we are like animator or something like that, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, that's it, guys. That's it for today. I
All
guess.
right. Woo, nice job. Looks
Thank you.
good. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Gracias.
Okay. Let's see. Go to the website here. Dreamco. Okay. All right. So we are gonna start out with our cognitive drawing exercise. So
Oh,
you say that now, but at the end of the semester, when you're a better artist than you were at the beginning, you'll be like, oh, that actually helped. Okay, so you got to download this file. Let's see, what do I do? Download it? Yep, I guess I'm gonna download it. Okay, save it on the desktop. And then let's see, file open. Okay, so what is that? Is it 12 or is it 13? It's 13, I guess. Day 13 PDF. Open. All right, this is a 2-pager today. All right, which one's the first page? Let's see, that's day 1, or that's page 1, and that's page 2. Okay. So I'm gonna create a new layer for myself here. Get my black pen. All right, I'm good there. All right, we'll bring up the video just for a few minutes, just for fun. And start drawing this thing.
All right, welcome to day 13. So we're going to do a cognitive drawing exercise again. Again, it says don't look too long, meaning we're not trying to memorize all this from the get-go. What we're trying to do is just understand what the pose is, what the position is, and do it as good as we can from the knowledge we have right now. So I will do that. Let's see. We'll do that box type shape. we'll kind of, that's looking really odd already. You guys can totally see your own style pop out when you're trying to draw this stuff. Like I have my own style down pretty good, but as far as trying to draw something realistic, oh my goodness, that's a whole nother level right there. And this is pretty bad.
Okay, well, anyway, I'm sure Jason will improve his drawing, but now it's our turn. So look at your drawing there, spend just a few seconds looking at it, and then pull it up. And let's see, I think if I shrink this down, I can make that bigger. Let's see. I want this a little bigger, a little smaller than that. So that's 200%. So I'm gonna go 175%, maybe 165%. Let's see. Oh, boo, I blew it. Okay, let me try it again. 165. Okay, that's good. That's perfect, actually. All right. Draw this. I'm going to try and remember to use that block that Garrett uses so well, and that Jason just used. Let's see. So the block would be like this kind of thing.
My cat's back to bug everyone.
What's that?
My cat's back.
Oh no. What's your cat's name?
Leo.
Leo? Is
Yeah.
he orange tabby?
Yeah, he's very orange.
Nice.
And he's being a jerk right now.
Give him an electric shock.
Thought about it.
Man, I really like those blocks. They just lay out the bone structure so well. The first one's always a crapshoot because you really never had enough time to memorize all the details, so you're just kind of going on your own intuition. It's the second one where things really start to improve because you get to look at the reference. Okay. Hmm. Okay, so when you're done with that page, feel free to save it and then upload it to the chat if you like. And then we have a second page. And this looks like it is the arm going the other way. And we're only doing the first two, and then the third one we're gonna save for next time we meet. Let's see, layers. Okay, so I'm gonna have 2 layers. All right, let's see. Oh, I got it backwards. I drew the first one from memory, but I was supposed to draw that from reference. So now I'm just going to do the opposite. I'm going to draw the bottom one from reference. Okay, and so when you're done with that second page, you can save that, and you can also upload it to the chat if you like, or put it in your folder. So let's see what we got here. So did anybody want to upload their arms to the chat for us to check out? Okay. Let's see, where is the thing for this? Okay, so I saved that so I can close it, and I saved this one so I can close it. Okay, close all these things. All right. All right, go ahead and at any time you want when you finish, you can either upload it here to the chat or send me a message. It's in your drive and we'll take a look at it. Okay, so we're going to also look at the 9th principle of animation, which is called timing. And we're gonna watch that video and then do an animation exercise from it. So let me go ahead and bring that video up. And we'll take a look at this.
Little by little, even big things change. The way we
Wait for the ad to go by.
Principles of animation as described by Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnston. So the next principle is called timing. This principle states that the personality and nature of an animation is greatly affected by the number of frames inserted between each main action. Basically, if you have many drawings that are very close together in between the two main poses, the action will be very slow. If you have very few drawings set far apart from each other, the action will be very fast. Less drawings means fast, more drawings means slow. One simple action can have 10 different meanings depending on how many frames you give it. This man is leaning from one shoulder to the other. With no in-betweens, it looks like his head is being hit by a tremendous force, nearly snapping off his neck. With one in-between, his head has been hit by a rolling pin or some other object. With two in-betweens, he has a muscle twitch. With three in-betweens, he is dodging the rolling pin or the other object. With four, he's saying, "Move it, get out of here." With five, he's more friendly, saying, "Over here, come on, hurry." With six, he sees the good-looking girl or the sports car he always wanted. With seven, he's trying to get a better look at something. With eight, he's searching for the peanut butter on the kitchen shelf. With nine, he is appraising something very thoughtfully. And with 10 in-betweens, he is stretching a sore muscle. The standard frame rate for movies is 24 frames per second. If one drawing is made for each frame, 24 drawings per second, that is called drawing on ones. If one drawing is made for every 2 frames, that's called drawing on twos, and every 3 drawings is threes, and so on. It's actually very common to draw on twos rather than ones for a few reasons. First, it cuts the amount of work in half. Second, it actually makes slow actions look smoother than if you were to draw every frame, because the precision needed to draw in between 2 very close drawings can lead to the animation looking jittery. Some would also say that drawing on twos is better for fast actions as well, because it gives a sparkle and spirit to the animation that would otherwise be too evenly timed and less lively if it were drawn on ones. But drawing on ones is necessary when there's a very fast action that needs to be read, often a scramble or a flurry of activity. And it's also everyone's choice how many drawings to put in between poses. Some people draw more or less frames depending on how much movement there is, and this can give a very dynamic effect to the animation. All right, that's all I've got for timing. The next principle is called exaggeration. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Okay, so timing. So we're going to do a timing exercise now. So what we're going to do is we're going to explore this possibility of animating on ones versus animating on twos. Now, he said if you animate on every single frame, that's called animating on ones. And if you animate on every other frame, that's animating on twos. So what we're going to do is I'd like you guys to draw some type of creature that is sort of hopping in place. So I'm just going to start a new document here. And we're actually going to do this creature twice and have one of them be animated on ones and the other animated on twos. And we can see the difference between them. As he said, the twos tend to be a little smoother, and of course it's half the work. So it's one way that a lot of people choose to animate. Okay, so I'm just going to create my canvas here. And then zoom in on it. Okay, a little more. Okay. So let's see. Let me see if I can turn my rulers on. Yeah, I'm going to do view rulers to bring in rulers on the sides of my canvas, and then I'm going to click on one of the rulers here and just drag down a guideline. And I just want that. I just want to give myself a ground plane to draw on, so I can have my creatures be kind of jumping around from the same point. So let's see. And my screen looks a little different than it normally did. I think it's because of my workspace. I'm on Essentials. Let me see, Classic. I think I like the one where the animation thing is up at the top. That's not it. Workspace, let's see, how about Animator? Okay, well, I guess my workspace is at the top there, but can't seem to find any of my little toolbar or anything. Oh, I guess my toolbar is right there. Okay. Well, anyway, you can try these different workspaces. It's kind of a fun way to experiment with things. And maybe there'll be one that you really like that works out for you. Okay, so I think I'm going to go ahead and use this workspace. And actually, no, I'm not, because I don't like it. Well, okay, I'll just try it just to get used to it. Okay. So what I want you to do is create a character and animate them on ones, which is the way you're probably used to drawing, where you draw something different in every single frame and have them like jumping up and down in the air. So I'm going to zoom in on my document here so I can see what I'm doing. And then I'm probably just going to use out one layer just to use up one layer just to sketch my creature. So let's see. Oops. Boy, that is a big brush, man. Let's see. Where's my brush? Here's my brush. And it's hard to find anything in here. Size is down to 1. I guess it's because I'm so close that it looks so huge. Let me zoom out a little bit. See if that looks a little more reasonable. Well, I guess that's good enough. Okay, I'll get started here. All right. So I'm going to draw a little bunny like he had that was leaping around. I'm just going to sketch out some bunny elements. Looks like a cat. All right, let's see. Maybe it's going to be a cat today. All right, let's see. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a couple sketches here. I want to sketch until I get something that I like and then start animating it. So I'll do a couple of different head shapes and body shapes and some different ears. I'd like him to look more like a bunny than that. Right now he's looking very cat-like. Okay, we'll give him the triangle nose. Maybe little bunny eyes. Yeah, that looks better. Maybe a little mouth like that. Okay, now we'll give him the pear-shaped body. Okay, the little, see, these little arms. All right, and then the legs. Got to work on those legs. They're pretty bad. Okay. And then a little tail. All right. And I'm not sure if that arm is going to be in front or in back. Let me see. Looks a little weird right now. Maybe I can fix up some elements of this guy before I start animating him so I get a better idea of what I'm doing. Let's see. So we would probably see that. Okay, it's looking a little better. His arms are always too short. All right, let's try that. Okay, so let's see. Okay, I'll probably do something like this. Try and do a better job with the legs than I am going on right now. Okay, but that's good enough to get me started. Okay, and then I'm gonna kill this guy over here, the cat. All right, so I'm gonna use that sketch as a reference. I'll move him over here. And then draw my little bunny, just doing sort of a squash and stretch, but then leaping up into the air a little bit. Okay, so that's my sketch. I'm gonna name that layer sketch. And I might even be able to recolor this layer a different color, like maybe, what's a good color? Light purple or something like that. Yeah. I think I'm going to make it a different color so that when I make my next layer and I draw in black, it's easier to differentiate between the two. So I'm going to call my next layer art. And I'm going to draw the bunny first in the sort of upright position here. Then I'll have him squish down and then stretch up. And when he stretches up, I'll have him lift his feet off the ground and get up in the air a little bit so that he's actually jumping. Okay, so start with his head. All right. Okay, so the next frame, I'm gonna turn off my sketch. You know, I cleaned up my little bunny a little bit, and now I'm gonna turn on my onion skin, create a blank keyframe on the next frame, and then draw him start to squish down a little bit. Now, actually, now that I think about it, I like to animate with that pose to pose. So I think in advance, I'm going to think about how many poses I want him to go through. Well, I want to make this pretty simple. So I'm just going to have him do one squish down, and then he's going to come back up to this normal size. And then he's going to stretch up. And on that stretch, I think he'll be sort of uplifted off the ground. So that means I can use the same animation or the same frame for the third one, because he'll be squishing down and stretching back up, and I can use this. So so maybe I can do that right now just to help myself out. So I'll make a blank keyframe on the third one. I'll right click on the first frame and say copy frames, go down to the third frame and right click and say paste frames. Okay, so now at 1 and 3, I've got him like that. So now I can go to 2 and draw him squished down a little bit. All right. Okay, so now I can use my comma and my period keys. The period key will move you forward 1 frame, the comma will move you back 1, and I can just kind of see what he looks like between these 3 frames. And it does look like there's some squish going on, so that works for me. And so now I'm going to go, now I think, once again, I'm only going to have one of him leaping up, and then the one after that I can be him back to this again. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this frame as well. Put a couple blank keyframes in after that. And then on the very 5th one, I'm going to paste the same frame. Okay, so now I just have to draw 4 with him leaping up into the air. Okay, so now I've got all 5 drawings, 3 of which are the same one. And of course, you could do more than this if you wanted to make it smoother and more interesting. Let's see. And actually, now that I think about it, I think I'm gonna add 2 more of my previous drawings to the end here, because he would squash when he's going down, getting ready to jump, and then he would jump up. But then when he comes back down, might be a little squash where he kind of settles and comes back up again. So I can reuse my second frame and also my first frame again. So I'm gonna make 2 more blank keyframes here. And at the very end, I'm gonna paste the frame I've been using over and over again. And then I'm gonna copy the second frame and put it in second to last. So if that works the way I think it will, then he squishes down, jumps up, lands, and then comes back up to normal again. So I can now turn on my loop and drag out this blue to be the whole thing. I can go under modify document and change my frame rate. I'll change it to something like 7 frames per second. And check it out. Okay, so now I got my little bunny jumping up and down. Now, once you've created something like that, a character jumping up and down on ones, the next thing I want you to do is copy that character and put them to the right of the first character, and now make it so that it's animating on 2s. And so what that means is that each frame is going to stay on the screen for 2 frames instead of 1. And I'll show you what I mean. So first of all, I'm gonna delete my sketch layer because I don't need that anymore. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna right click on my first layer and I'm gonna go duplicate layers. And so what that'll do is it'll give me a brand new layer of the bunny. Now what I want to do with all of these drawings is move them over to the right, but I don't think they'll all move at once, but let me try it. Let's see. I think I'm just moving the last frame, but let's see. Yeah, I just moved whatever frame I was on. So it doesn't move all of them at once, which is kind of a drag. So I guess we're gonna have to move them one at a time. So the way to do that would be to lock the bottom layer and then click on the very first frame and move this guy over, holding your shift key down so that he moves in a straight line. And then turn on your onion skin, go to the second frame, and now click on the second guy and move him over and line him up with the first guy. Then the third frame, move that guy over. Fourth, okay, my fourth one was there already, but I gotta move him into a slightly better position. 5. And then 6. And then 7. Okay, so once you've reestablished your animation over on the right side here, you can turn off the eyeball on the first layer because that's just a little distracting. Turn off your onion skin. Go back to the first frame. Now, what we need to do is we need to basically insert one blank keyframe between each one of these existing frames. So instead of 7 frames, this is going to end up being 14 frames long. So the easiest way to do that is to click on the second frame of this top layer here, hold down your shift key and click on the end frame. And so you got all those selected. Then click on any of these little black dots that are, in the frames and move the whole shoot and match over one to the right. Now what that'll do is it'll make it so that this first frame stays on the screen for 2 frames. Okay, now then to move the next set, we have to leave this one, which is the second frame, the second dot alone. So we can hold our shift key down and click on that. Oh, that didn't work. Okay, I'm gonna hold my shift key down and click on everything except for the second dot. Click on that whole shoot and match and move it over one so that now the second one goes for 2. Okay, you can also drag your mouse like a marquee and drag a selection of these frames. Now I'm going to grab everything except for the third one and move it to the right. Then I'm going to grab everything except the fourth one and move it to the right one. Everything except the fifth one. And then I'm going to move just the last one to the right one. Okay, so now everything is on the stage for 2. I've got some extra frames here, so I'm going to highlight everything and except for 2 frames at the end there and do remove frames so that this last one stays on the screen for 2 as well. Now, because this one is 14 and this other one is only 7, we're going to have to duplicate the bottom one and put those 7 frames in at the bottom of this one, the second, the bottom frame. So I'm gonna turn on my eyeball for that and uncheck the lock. I'm gonna click on the very first frame of the bottom frame or the bottom layer, hold my shift key down, click on the very last frame that has something on it, right click and say copy frames. Then I'm going to click on the first empty frame after all those frames, right click and do paste frames. And it pastes in all 7 of my frames. So what we have now is the bunny on the left is essentially does twice as many jumps as the one on the right. He's moving twice as fast because he's moving at a rate of 1 movement per frame. But the bunny on the left is moving in 2s. And so theoretically, his jump should be smoother and possibly look a little better than the jump of the bunny on the left. And also the bunny on the left is going to have a more frenetic jump because he's jumping twice as fast. So let's see what that looks like. Yeah, and sure enough, you can see the bunny on the left is, he's very active. He's moving very quickly. And the bunny on the right has kind of a smoother feel to his jump because each frame is on the stage for 2. Well, each drawing is on the frame for 2. Each drawing is on the stage for 2 frames. Thank you. Okay. Anyway, you get the idea. But so go ahead and work on your drawings and see if you can replicate something like this. And then this will show you the advantage of drawing on 2s. It might be something you want to do in your animations. The Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, they animated the main character at the beginning of the movie. They animated him on 2s so that he would look like he was kind of awkward and a little slower than everybody else. And everybody else in the movie got animated at 24 frames per second at the beginning of the movie, and he got animated at 12 frames per second because they wanted him to look awkward. But then as the movie progressed, they gave him more frames per second so that it looked like he was learning what he was doing. And so that's, a perfect example of this type of animation. Okay, I'm going to stop my little animation here. Okay, so I will give you guys some time to work on that. And then once you're done, maybe you can upload your FLA file either to the chat here or to your Google Drive folder, and then we'll get to take a look at them. So take some time and do those. And as soon as I see either messages coming in that say that it's in your folder or uploads of files, we'll start looking at the ones that you guys have completed.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. And I'll stop my share for a minute or two so that you guys can have your whole screen to draw with. Okay, Marco, I realize you uploaded yours, but I'm going to wait a few minutes and give some more people time to finish up theirs, and then we'll start looking at them, okay?